I spent 8 years paying my parents' bills, covering their mortgage, and saving them from bankruptcy. On Thanksgiving, in front of everyone, my father slammed his hand on the table, looked me dead in the eyes, and said, "Paying bills doesn't make you family." Then he told me to leave. That night, I made a decision that changed everything. My name is Valerie, I'm 33, and until last Thanksgiving, I was the dependable daughter who worked in tech and kept her parents afloat. Every month, I sent nearly $2,500 to cover their mortgage, utilities, car payments, and even their Wi-Fi. Year after year, I sacrificed my own dreams, hoping one day I'd finally be appreciated. But appreciation never came. My younger brother, Trevor, 28, was the golden child. I noticed it as a kid. He got a new bike for getting a C on a report card, while my straight A's got me a pat on the head. Later, he got the bigger bedroom, the louder cheers at sports games, the constant "he's going places" from my dad. Meanwhile, I was just there, reliable, invisible. The real turning point came when I was 18. Dad lost his job at a furniture factory. Mom only worked part-time as a receptionist. Our finances crashed right as I was starting college. I worked 3 jobs to keep myself afloat. Waiting tables, running late-night data entry, shelving books at the library, barely sleeping. Meanwhile, Trevor got his tuition fully covered when he went to college 3 years later. By 25, I had finally landed a solid career in software development in Cleveland. 6 figures, stability, independence. That's when the phone call started. Mom and Dad's bills. The emergencies. The mortgage falling behind. I caved. At first, I sent money once in a while. Soon, I was paying everything. Their house existed because of me. Their cars, too. Their entire lifestyle was strapped to my paycheck. Trevor? He jumped from one failed business to the next. First a clothing brand that collapsed after 2 months. Then a food truck idea that never even got a truck. After that, a crypto investment that burned through 15 grand. Through it all, Mom and Dad cheered him on. He's got vision, they said. He just needs his big break. Meanwhile, I was the ATM with legs. My best friend, Rachel, kept warning me. She'd say, "Val, they're using you. You're burning yourself out for people who don't even say thank you." And every time, I'd shrug and say, "They're my family. What am I supposed to do? Let them lose the house." Looking back, Rachel was right. 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, my company launched a massive project I had led for months. I got a big bonus, enough for me to finally consider buying my own place. For once, I thought maybe things were turning around. That same week, Mom called me and said, "We were thinking you could host Thanksgiving this year. Your apartment is bigger." It wasn't a question, so I agreed. I spent almost $500 on food, wine, decorations, everything. Rachel tagged along while I shopped. She warned me again, "They're not going to appreciate this, Val." I brushed her off. This year will be different. But 3 days before Thanksgiving, Mom called back and said, "Actually, we'll host at our place. You can just bring everything here." As if moving an entire Thanksgiving feast from my apartment to theirs was no big deal. Fine. I swallowed my frustration and agreed. The night before Thanksgiving, while dropping off some prep dishes, I overheard Dad on the phone with my uncle. His exact words? "Valerie helps here and there, but she never does enough for us, considering how much money she makes. Never does enough." I stood frozen in the hallway with a container of cranberry sauce in my hands, my chest on fire. 8 years of paying nearly $30,000 a year, and I still never did enough. On Thanksgiving Day, I loaded my car with food, wine, and decorations. I pulled up to their house, the same house I'd been paying for every month, and Dad's first words weren't "Happy Thanksgiving." They were, "You're blocking the driveway. Trevor needs that spot." The day went downhill from there. They criticized the turkey, said the wine was too sweet. Mom whispered to relatives about how I never quite measures up to Trevor. And when Trevor arrived empty-handed, they treated him like a king. He sat between them at the head of the table while I ended up shoved at the far end. I told myself to bite my tongue, smile, get through it. But then Trevor started pitching another one of his business schemes, a fitness app, this time. He said he just needed $40,000 to launch it. Mom and Dad nodded along, saying they might dip into their retirement to help him. That's when I snapped. I said, "Are you serious? You can't keep throwing money at Trevor's ideas. I've been the one covering your bills for 8 years. Almost $30,000 a year. And you act like I don't exist." The room went silent. My aunt and uncle froze. Trevor's fork clattered against his plate. And then my father, face red, voice shaking, slammed his fist on the table and roared, "Paying bills doesn't make you family. Get out." The words hung in the air like a knife. "Paying bills doesn't make you family. Get out." I froze, napkin clenched in my hand. 8 years of sacrifices, my money, my time, my sanity, and this was how they saw me. Not as a daughter, but as an outsider who had overstayed her welcome at their precious Thanksgiving table. I placed my napkin on the plate, then let Trevor pay the mortgage. My voice was calm, but my insides were shaking. Dad's face twisted into something feral. Don't you dare disrespect this family. Jason, he still called Trevor by his middle name whenever he wanted to make him feel important, has ambition. You wouldn't understand. All you know is your safe job and your money. I laughed. Actually laughed. Ambition? You mean the clothing line that tanked in 2 months? Or the food truck that never even had a truck? Or was it the crypto scheme that blew up $15,000? Stop it. Mom snapped. Why do you always tear your brother down? Because I'm tired of being treated like a walking credit card while you worship his failures, I said, standing now. Trevor shoved back his chair, eyes blazing. You think you're better than me because you sit behind a desk? You've always been jealous, Val. Jealous? Of what? Watching you burn through money while I kept this house from foreclosure? That was when Dad slammed his fist on the table again so hard the wine glasses shook. You're not welcome here anymore. If you walk out that door, don't come back. Not for Christmas. Not ever. And he meant it. I could see it in his eyes. So I walked. But here's where things got unpredictable. As I reached the hallway to grab my coat, my cousin Lily, just 19, home from college, followed me. Her voice was shaky. Valerie, wait. I turned, tears stinging my eyes. They've been lying to everyone, she whispered. They told all of us Trevor was the one helping them, that he was paying their bills, that he was the reason they still had the house. I stared at her. What? She nodded quickly, glancing over her shoulder. I swear, Aunt Rose and Uncle Bill think Trevor's been covering the mortgage. That's why they always gush about him. They had no idea it was you. My blood ran cold. So not only had my parents taken my money for nearly a decade, they had also spun a fantasy version of Trevor as the hero keeping them afloat, while I was painted as the selfish one. That betrayal burned deeper than anything else. I hugged Lily quickly, whispered thanks, and left. By the time I got to my car, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely fit the key into the ignition. Rage, grief, betrayal, all of it collided inside me. On the drive back to my apartment, my phone blew up with messages. My mom, you embarrassed us in front of family. You need to apologize. Dad, if you don't get over your pride, you'll regret it. Trevor, fix this now, Val. You ruined Thanksgiving. Fix this. I laughed bitterly as I parked outside my building. For once, I wasn't going to fix a damn thing. That night, I sat down at my laptop and pulled up every account I'd been paying for. Mortgage, utilities, car loans, insurance, internet, even their streaming services. All of them were in my name. And one by one, I started shutting them off. Mortgage, canceled. Utilities, done. Wi-Fi, gone. Car payments, removed. By midnight, the entire financial lifeline I had built for my parents and Trevor was gone. It wasn't revenge. It was survival. I closed the laptop, poured myself a glass of wine, and for the first time in years, I felt a strange sense of calm. But the calm didn't last. The next morning, I woke up to 27 missed calls, 45 texts, and 11 voicemails. The first was my mother's panicked voice. Valerie, the power company says our bill wasn't paid. What's going on? The second was Trevor, screaming. My car just got repossessed. I had a meeting today, and they towed it from the driveway. You think this is funny? The third was Dad, his voice venomous. What you're doing is elder abuse. I talked to Gary, he's a lawyer. If you don't fix this by noon, we'll sue you. I sat there in bed, phone buzzing, my coffee growing cold, and laughed. A wild, bitter laugh that echoed in my apartment. Elder abuse. From the man who told me I wasn't family? Then came the voicemail that nearly broke me. Mom, sobbing, your father's chest hurts. He might be having a heart attack from all this stress. If anything happens to him, it's on you. For a split second, my stomach dropped. Guilt rushed in like a tidal wave. What if he really was sick? What if I had pushed him too far? But before I could spiral, another text popped up. From Lily. Don't believe them. Your dad's fine. They're just trying to scare you. Right now the cops are at their house because your dad told them you hacked their accounts. I thought you should know. My heart pounded. The police? I pulled up the security camera app one had installed at their house, the one I paid for. And there it was. My dad, red-faced, gesturing wildly to 2 police officers in the living room. My mom wringing her hands like a stage actress. Trevor sulking on the couch. And me? Sitting in my apartment, sipping coffee, watching it all unfold like a live soap opera. I whispered to myself, game on. I sat on my couch, coffee in hand, watching the police officers wander through my parents' living room on the security camera feed. My dad was waving his arms like a politician on a campaign stage, while Mom dabbed at her eyes with a tissue, pretending to be some tragic victim. Trevor sat slouched on the couch, arms crossed, glaring like a sulky child who had just lost his favorite toy. The sheer absurdity of it hit me all at once. They called the police on me. After everything I've paid? After the house, the cars, the food in their fridge? I almost spit out my coffee laughing. Then one of the officers pulled out a notepad and began taking down information. My father leaned in, his voice carrying through the camera mic. She hacked us. She shut everything down. We're her parents, and she abandoned us. She could go to jail for this. Jail? Really? The man who told me I wasn't family 24 hours ago now wanted me arrested for not paying his Netflix bill? I was seething and laughing at the same time. Rage and irony tangled together like a hurricane inside my chest. Then my phone buzzed again. A new voicemail from my uncle, Bill, the one who usually stayed quiet in family drama. His voice was low, serious. Valerie, I just want you to know your dad's story doesn't add up. They've been telling everyone for years that Trevor was supporting them. We only found out last night that it was actually you. I'm sorry you've been carrying this burden alone. If they drag you into legal trouble, you've got allies. Don't let them bully you. For a second, my throat tightened. Finally, someone believed me. Someone saw me. But that moment of relief was cut short. Because 30 minutes later, there was a loud knock on my apartment door. I froze. Peering through the peephole, my stomach dropped. 2 uniformed officers stood outside. I opened the door cautiously. Valerie Grant, one asked. Yes. We need to talk. Your parents filed a report claiming you hacked their accounts and disabled essential utilities. They've accused you of financial abuse. Can we come in? My pulse thundered. For a split second, I thought I was about to be handcuffed in my own hallway. But then sarcasm surged through me like fuel. Sure, I said sweetly. But do you mind if I show you something first? They stepped inside. I pulled up my laptop, opened the accounts, and displayed the payment history. Every bill, every automatic draft, every dollar tied to my bank account. I spun the screen toward them. Does this look like hacking to you? Or does it look like I've been paying for my parents' entire lives for 8 years? The officers exchanged a look. One raised his eyebrows. The other muttered, That's a lot of money. Yeah, I snapped. Almost 30 grand a year. While my brother played entrepreneur and my parents cheered him on. You know what I got for it? Last night, my father told me I wasn't family. He disowned me at Thanksgiving dinner. So I did what any rational adult would do. I stopped paying. That's not hacking. That's called boundaries. One officer coughed, trying not to laugh. Understood. We'll note this in our report. Do that, I said, sarcasm dripping. And tell my father next time he wants free HBO, he can ask his golden boy son. They left without another word. And just like that, the cops were gone, and I was still free. No cuffs, no charges, just adrenaline coursing through my veins. But the storm wasn't over. That evening, Trevor showed up at my apartment building. I only knew because Rachel texted me. Your brother's downstairs, banging on the lobby door. He looks like he wants to kill someone. Want me to call security? I flew to the window. Sure enough, Trevor was there, pacing, shouting into his phone. My phone. Easy. His text came through seconds later. Come down now, or I'm not leaving. You ruined everything. You think you can humiliate Dad in front of the cops and walk away? Fix this, or I swear I'll make sure everyone thinks you're the villain. Villain? After I carried him and my parents for years? My blood boiled. I typed back one word. No? Seconds later, the intercom buzzed. Valerie, it's your brother. Open the door. We need to talk. I pressed the button and snapped. The only thing we need to talk about is how you plan to get a job to cover the mortgage. Then I hung up. He screamed something I couldn't hear, then kicked the door so hard the buzzer shook. My building's security finally stepped in and escorted him off the property. Rachel called me right after. Val, he's losing it. I think he's desperate. Be careful. Desperate didn't even cover it. Because that night, I got an email from Trevor. Attached was a fake spreadsheet showing loans he claimed I owed our parents. Tens of thousands of dollars I had supposedly borrowed from them over the years. The subject line read, Pay up, or this goes public. My jaw dropped. Blackmail. From my own brother. I stared at the screen, trembling with fury, then whispered aloud to my empty apartment. Oh, Trevor, you just made the biggest mistake of your life. The fake spreadsheet sat on my laptop screen like a live grenade. Trevor had actually created fake loans, claiming I owed our parents over $80,000. His email was blunt. If you don't resume paying their bills, I'll send this to the family, to your boss, and to anyone else who'll listen. You'll look like a thief. Pay up, Valerie. For a moment, I just stared, hands shaking. Then I laughed bitterly. My own brother is blackmailing me? Over money I gave them? Anger shot through me like fire. I forwarded the email to Rachel with the subject line, "Guess who just committed extortion?" Her response came seconds later. "Val, this is insane. You need to protect yourself. Save everything. Screenshot everything. Don't let him scare you." I saved every file, every message, every voicemail. If Trevor wanted war, I was ready. But then he pulled a stunt so outrageous, I still get chills thinking about it. The next morning, my phone lit up with notifications. My cousin Lily was the first to text. "Val, did you see Facebook?" I opened the app and almost dropped my phone. Trevor had posted a long, dramatic status update, complete with crying emojis and a photo of him sitting next to my parents looking devastated. The post read, "My sister Valerie has been financially abusing our parents for years. She cut off their power, their water, even their security system. Now they're being threatened with foreclosure because she abandoned them. Please pray for my family. We don't know how we'll survive this betrayal." Hundreds of comments poured in. Distant relatives, old neighbors, even some of my parents' church friends. "How could she do this? That's disgusting. Family is supposed to stick together." It was a smear campaign, public, messy, and cruel. My stomach twisted as I scrolled. Anger, embarrassment, but mostly shock. He really did it. He turned the internet against me. Then came the kicker. Trevor had tagged me in the post. My inbox exploded with messages. Colleagues from work. Acquaintances I hadn't spoken to in years. Even my boss. The subject line of his email: "We need to discuss this situation." I wanted to scream. This wasn't just family drama anymore. Trevor was trying to ruin my career. Rachel called immediately. "Val, you can't stay quiet. You need to fight back. Now." Fight back? My blood was boiling so hard I thought I'd combust. If Trevor wanted a show, I was about to give him one. That afternoon, I went nuclear. I opened Facebook, hit share, and posted a thread with screenshots. Every bill I'd paid, every account under my name, every cancellation confirmation, 8 years of receipts, along with Trevor's blackmail email, word for word. I captioned it. "Since my brother Trevor decided to drag me publicly, here's the truth. For 8 years, I've paid my parents' mortgage, utilities, car loans, and more, nearly $30,000 a year. Meanwhile, Trevor contributed nothing except failed business schemes. Last night, my father told me paying bills doesn't make me family. So I stopped. That's not abuse. That's boundaries. And for the record, this is blackmail." I hit post. And within minutes, the tide turned. The same relatives who had commented, "How could she?" under Trevor's post started deleting their comments. Strangers chimed in. "Girl, you're a saint for putting up with that as long as you did. Your brother is a leech. This is elder abuse. Please, it's you who's been abused." Even people I barely knew were tagging Trevor. Care to explain this? By evening, Trevor deleted his original post. But the damage was done. My story was everywhere. Screenshots had gone viral in family circles. Half the relatives were horrified at my parents' behavior. The other half doubled down, insisting I had humiliated them. Then came the phone call. Dad's voice was ice cold. "You think you're clever, don't you? Putting our business out there for everyone to see. You've disgraced this family." "No," I snapped. "I told the truth. You disowned me at Thanksgiving. Trevor tried to blackmail me. You want disgrace? Look in the mirror." For the first time, Dad's voice cracked. "If your mother loses her friends at church because of this, if Trevor loses his reputation, it'll be on you." Reputation? I laughed so hard I nearly dropped the phone. What reputation? The one where he's a failed businessman who lives off his parents while I pay the bills? "Enough," he shouted, then hung up. But Trevor wasn't finished. That night, Lily texted me again. "Heads up, Trevor's planning something for the neighborhood tomorrow. He told Uncle Bill he's going to make Valerie pay in front of everyone." I frowned. "Make me pay? How?" The answer came the next day when my phone buzzed with another notification. A Facebook Live video. Trevor was streaming from my parents' front yard. In the video, he held up a giant homemade sign that read, "My sister abandoned our family." Behind him, my parents stood on the porch, nodding solemnly. Neighbors gathered on the sidewalk. Some filmed. Some whispered. It looked like a full-blown protest. I stared at the screen, jaw on the floor. Trevor had staged a public humiliation stunt. For me, I whispered to myself, half in rage, half in awe. He's lost his damn mind. I sat on my couch, stunned, watching Trevor's Facebook Live stunt unfold like some twisted reality show. My brother, in the front yard holding a massive sign that screamed, "My sister abandoned our family," while my parents stood behind him like mournful actors in a soap opera. Neighbors lined the street, whispering, recording, eating up the drama. The comments on the live stream were pouring in. Shame on her. How can she do this to her parents? Trevor, you're so brave. Brave. This was insane. He had turned my entire life into a circus. I snapped. I threw on my coat, grabbed my car keys, and drove straight to their neighborhood. By the time I pulled up, a full crowd had gathered. Neighbors, church folks, curious onlookers. It looked like a block party of pity. Trevor was still holding the sign, shouting about how I abandoned them, while my parents nodded along like martyrs. I parked right in front of the house, got out, and walked up the driveway with my phone in hand. The crowd went quiet. Cameras turned on me. Oh, look who decided to show up, Trevor sneered, his voice loud enough to carry. Everyone, here's the daughter who thinks money makes her better than family. The crowd murmured. Phones angled toward me. I raised my voice, steady and sharp. You want to talk about money, Trevor? Let's talk. I pulled up my phone and held it high, showing the receipts I had already posted online. For 8 years, I paid this mortgage. I paid the cars, the Wi-Fi, the electricity, the streaming services you waste your life on. Almost $30,000 a year. Gasps rippled through the crowd. And Trevor. I turned to him. What exactly have you contributed? Oh, right. Fake businesses, crypto scams, and now, a Facebook pity party. The crowd murmured louder now. Neighbors whispered. My parents shifted uncomfortably. But then I decided to detonate the real bomb. The secret I'd kept quiet for years. I locked eyes with my dad. You want the truth? Here it is. The only reason you weren't homeless 10 years ago is because I paid off your gambling debt. The air split open. My father's face went pale. My mom gasped. Trevor's jaw dropped. The neighbors erupted in whispers. Gambling debt? Someone shouted. I didn't stop. I was on fire. Yeah, that's right. Dad blew almost 50 grand at casinos. You mortgaged the house twice. And when the debt collectors came calling, who bailed you out? Not Trevor. Me. I signed checks while I was still paying off student loans. The crowd was buzzing, filming every second. My mom's face crumpled. Valerie, stop. No. I warned. I'm done protecting this family's dirty secrets while you paint me as the villain. You've lied to everyone for years, telling them Trevor was your savior while I drained myself to keep you afloat. And for what? So you could throw me out of Thanksgiving and call me ungrateful? Trevor dropped his sign. His voice cracked. Dad, is she serious? My father's silence said it all. He couldn't even look his son in the eye. The neighbors were buzzing now. Phones were out everywhere. Whispers turned to full-on chatter. Did you hear that? Gambling. She saved them. I turned on Trevor, fury burning in my chest. And you, trying to blackmail me with fake loans? Posting lies about me online? You think you're some noble protector? You're just a parasite who's been living off lies. Trevor's face twisted red. You ruined me, he shouted. You ruined all of us. No. I snapped back, voice steady, deadly calm. You ruined yourself. The silence that followed was deafening. Then, from the crowd, a neighbor, Mr. Donnelly, who'd lived down the street for decades, spoke up. She's right. I saw Richard at the casino more times than I can count. Guess Valerie's been the only adult in this family. The crowd exploded. Whispers turned to open judgment. People shook their heads, muttering, filming. The sympathy that had gathered around my parents and Trevor evaporated like smoke. My mother sobbed, covering her face. My father clenched his fists, his reputation crumbling in front of his neighbors. Trevor stood frozen, humiliated, the sign at his feet like a tombstone. I looked around at all of them, my parents, my brother, the stunned crowd, and said, loud and clear, you told me paying bills doesn't make me family. Fine. But lying, gambling, manipulation? That doesn't make you family either. I'm done. And with that, I turned, walked back to my car, and drove away. By the time I got home, my phone was blowing up again. Half the family was in shock, the other half demanding explanations. But one text stood out, from Lily. Val, everyone's talking. You just blew the lid off everything. But Trevor's not done. He's planning something big. Be careful. I set my phone down, heart racing. Something big? After all this, what could he possibly do now? Lily's warning kept echoing in my head. Trevor's not done. He's planning something big. I should have ignored it. Shut off my phone. Slept. Moved on. But with Trevor, chaos was a guarantee. And I was right. He didn't disappoint. The big plan arrived 2 days later, in the form of an email blast sent to half the family, my boss, and even some of my clients. Subject line, the truth about my sister. Trevor had gone nuclear. The email was long, rambling, and insane. He accused me of elder abuse, fraud, betrayal, and even claimed I was addicted to control. He attached the same fake spreadsheet he'd tried to blackmail me with, listing thousands in loans, I supposedly owed my parents. And the kicker? He CC'd everyone. My manager, my company's HR, even the local church mailing list. It was meant to destroy me. My hands shook, but then something inside me snapped into clarity. If Trevor wanted war, I'd give him a finale so explosive he'd never recover. I grabbed my laptop, every screenshot, every bank record, every voicemail. And instead of hiding, I went public. That night, I uploaded a video. 10 minutes. Calm. Steady. Brutal. Hi. My name's Valerie. Some of you might have seen posts or emails accusing me of abandoning my parents. Here's the truth. I laid it all out. 8 years of payments. The gambling debt I paid off. The fake loans Trevor had fabricated. The voicemails threatening me. Even the police showing up at my door. I ended with this. My father told me paying bills doesn't make me family. So I stopped. My brother has tried to blackmail me, slander me, and now ruin my career. But here's what I've learned. Real family doesn't bleed you dry and call it love. Real family doesn't humiliate you in public for applause. If setting boundaries makes me the villain, then so be it. I posted it on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, everywhere. And then it exploded. Within hours, the video racked up thousands of views. Strangers flooded the comments. You're a hero for speaking up. Your brother's a leech. This is financial abuse flipped upside down. Some even shared their own stories of being the ATM child. By morning, my inbox was overflowing with support. Coworkers, extended family, even clients. My boss emailed, I saw your video. Don't worry. We've got your back. Trevor's stunt had backfired spectacularly. But the Real explosion came at church the following Sunday. My parents, desperate to save face, dragged Trevor along and tried to paint themselves as victims during coffee hour. But instead of sympathy, they were met with silence. People had seen my video. They had seen the receipts. And whispers spread like wildfire. Did you hear about the gambling? About Trevor's blackmail? According to Lily, my dad stormed out halfway through the service, humiliated. My mom cried in the parking lot. Trevor cursed at a deacon and nearly got into a fight. Their carefully crafted facade had shattered in front of the very community they craved validation from. And me? I was free. For the first time in years, I felt light. No more bills. No more guilt. No more walking on eggshells. My parents had disowned me. Trevor had declared war. And yet, I was the one who came out stronger. The final nail came a week later when I received a letter in the mail. From my father. Handwritten. Valerie, we never expected you to turn on us like this. You embarrassed us, destroyed Trevor's reputation, and humiliated your mother. But you've made your choice. As far as we're concerned, you are no longer our daughter. Don't contact us again. I read it once. Then again. Then laughed. A raw, almost hysterical laugh. Because the truth was, I hadn't been their daughter in their eyes for years. They just lost their free ride. I burned the letter. And that night, I celebrated. Rachel brought champagne. Lily came over too, shaking with nerves, but grinning ear to ear. Val, you don't realize it. You didn't just free yourself. You exposed them. Everyone finally sees who they really are. I raised my glass. Then let them see. Let the whole world see. We toasted. We laughed. And for the first time, I wasn't the invisible daughter, the quiet provider, or the family ATM. I was Valerie, finally, unapologetically Valerie. Do I regret what happened? The chaos? The drama? The family implosion that went viral? No. Because when my father screamed, paying bills doesn't make you family, he was right. Family isn't about bills, or obligation, or blind loyalty. Family is the people who don't stand in your driveway with protest signs. The ones who don't blackmail you, slander you, or gamble away your love. Family is the ones who stay when you set boundaries, and cheer when you finally break free. That's the end of today's story. Did things turn out the way you thought, or were there some surprises along the way? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't joined the community yet, now's the perfect time. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're always the first to catch new stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.